Everyone, I'm Michael.
And I'm Patrick, and you're watching an episode of Star Wars News and Views. Today we'll be talking about a wrap-up of Star Wars Celebration, which just ended over the weekend. You know, it's the whole weekend-long, entire convention about just Star Wars, which is, pretty exciting. And, it's kind of cool that there is one whole convention just for Star Wars.
There's nothing else like that for any other franchise. I mean, Comic-Con is a whole weekend, but it's like everything, right?
Yeah.
Or E3, it's like the whole video game industry.
Yeah, it's not just one.
This is just one movie series.
Yeah.
that has a whole convention.
And because, it's a whole movie series, we have to get information on everything. Episode 8, Rogue One, video games, and, one of the bigger news that we just found out was that in Rebels, Thrawn is going to be introduced into the series, which is pretty big because, again, a lot of the old expanded universe was canon, and none of it's really canon anymore. But they're going to try to pick and choose and take out some, specific aspects of it, and one of those is going to be Thrawn.
Yeah, well, that's like when we saw the first glimpses of director Orson Krennic in Rogue One. We're like, oh, it's kind of like Thrawn, but not quite Thrawn. So they're taking influence from that. Now this is one step further. Actual Grand Admiral Thrawn, blue skin and all, is appearing now as a character. And it's the first time he's really been brought to life, outside of a comic or book in any major way that I know of.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think he's in any video games.
I don't think so.
So the only thing though, this is cool because it's like a fresh slate. Because the old continuity, like Heir to the Empire, didn't happen. The Last Command and Dark Force Rising never happened. So it's the same character, but totally different continuity.
Yeah.
So what are they going to keep? What aspects are they going to keep? What are they going to sort of alter? It's really, I think that's really fascinating to see how they can take a character from an alternate continuity and now fit him in this new one. And
I think it's kind of a lot more fan service than anything, and I don't think he's not going to be a major, because he's not going to be in any of the movies at the moment right now. It's just the one series, and it's just kind of
he might.
Yeah, we'll see
One day.
But right now, it seems to be just a nice little fan service to people who enjoyed his character from the Expanded Universe beforehand.
Yeah. So moving on from that, just to give a quick throwaway things before we get to the juicy stuff, we got a lot of video game news. So for starters, Battlefront, if you're still playing that, there's going to be new Rogue One DLC coming to that. So that's cool if you guys play Battlefront. They've been releasing a lot of new levels and stuff recently, actually. If only they had done that from the beginning, it would have been a complete game.
Yeah.
But this is cool that they're, they had the Battle of Jakku DLC last year, and now this year they have some Rogue One DLC, so that's cool.
Yeah, we've also heard some more about the Star Wars VR. There's the one that we knew about from E3 where it's going to be dog fighting, and you got to look around in the cockpit of an X-Wing. But also there's going to be one about Darth Vader.
Yeah, they were kind of tight-lipped on it in terms of what the gameplay is going to be like. It sounds like you play as Darth Vader, and it's I imagine it's going to be from his perspective, in the helmet, and it's maybe targeting Terminator vision. You know?
Yeah.
Because in Revenge of the Sith, when the helmet's going on, then you can see what he would be seeing, and it's all red heads-up display and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that'd be cool, if you had the Vive or something like that, where you had a lightsaber.
Yeah, and you could throw it. Yeah. That'd be
so we're not sure exactly what that's going to be, except that it's coming out. And also there was an announcement for something that we've known for a long time now. I think I made a video about that in my backyard at 6 in the morning one day, in April.
Yeah.
But we have official confirmation from the new Han Solo for the Han Solo spinoff.
We have official confirmation that Alden Ehrenreich will be playing a young Han Solo, which, we had heard before, but it wasn't completely official. Now it's released, which is cool.
It was officially unofficial.
Yeah.
Or unofficially official. And now it's officially official.
Yeah.
So, he is supposedly a good actor. I can't say I've seen anything with him in it. He's got the look. I think of all the candidates that were in the running, he's definitely one of the top picks. So I'm looking forward to what Phil Lord and Tim Miller, is that? Wait.
Chris Miller.
Are going to do with him. I think that'll be really interesting to see. So that's cool, too.
Yeah.
And now moving on to the juicy stuff. So let's get Episode 8 out of the way. There wasn't a ton of juicy tidbits for Episode 8, but there was a little bit of things that we learned from Celebration.
So there was 1 hour-long Q&A with Mark Hamill, which he apparently didn't give away too much of anything that was going on.
No, they asked him some stuff, but he's I don't know.
I think he's pretty good at playing the game at this point, where he knows what he can and can't say. He's pretty
His whole career has been built on this type of stuff.
So, but it's still nice that he did a whole hour-long Q&A. I think he loves this kind of stuff, going to these conventions and everything and seeing his fans. we also learned that episode 8 is going to begin right after episode 7 ended off. So
which was a rumor that we had heard a long time ago, but now they're like confirming this. 100%.
Yeah, which is cool because like you really want to see what the first word that's going to be out of Luke Skywalker's mouth to Rey is, because it's like such a defining moment, and then it cuts and you're like, no, what happened next? And if it just started like cut ahead in the future somewhere, we missed all that, it would be kind of like a letdown, right?
Yeah. That's the thing. That's why they went back to Skellig Michael in even before principal photography on episode 8, and they refilmed that scene because Rian Johnson was talking about, like, I want to know what happens next, not like next month or next week, like what was the next sentence that was spoken in that scene, like. So they actually went and sort of refilmed that scene, like literally the next part. So I don't know how they're gonna do it, because normally the opening crawl pans down to space, right?
Yeah.
So how are they gonna, if that's how it's gonna start?
Yeah.
I wonder if they're gonna redo the complete ending of episode 7 where they pan down from space and the Millennium Falcon's approaching the planet, and then they have her walking up the steps and they redo the scene.
Yeah.
Except it continues.
Yeah. It's also weird because this would be the first one without any time jump between the movies. So when they have the opening crawl, is it just going to reiterate what happened in episode 7, or like what else extra information can they give us?
That's true.
It usually gave
it's
information.
Like nothing else happened in between.
Yeah, usually it gives information about, like, on episode 5, it talks about why they're at Hoth in the first place. You're like, oh, okay, because, like, it didn't happen in the episode 4, so it gives you some information.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's going to go into more detail about what's going on with the First Order now, and what Leia's up to, because, like, there is a bit of a time jump there at the end of Force Awakens where, like, you don't know what's going on, right?
With everyone else, speaking of title crawls, another thing that they announced was that Rogue One will not be having a title crawl, and I don't think any of the other Star Wars anthology films will have
That's
title
what
crawls.
Kathleen Kennedy said. It's still, the movie's still not complete, so she wasn't 100% committed to it, but she says, I have a feeling there's not going to be any title crawl. And I agree with that decision. I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah.
There's not like an elaborate backstory of this ongoing saga. You can have that just through the setup of the movie.
So we also got a lot of other Rogue One information from Celebration, which is probably the most talked about thing there at the convention. And one thing that we thought we were going to see was the trailer, which we didn't get to, but it was shown at the Rogue One panel. But what was released then as well that we all got to see was the sizzle reel, which was nice. We have a whole video discussing that and kind of breaking that apart a bit and everything. But it was cool to see, behind the scenes of Rogue One.
And so the trailer was shown. There are some sort of descriptions of it, which I sort of took a little bit of a peek at. There's also some crappy, like, cell phone camera things,
which
but
we're not going to look at.
No, and neither should you. Just wait a couple days. It'll be online. It's not going to be exclusive. Just they made a whole trailer just for Celebration. So just wait a couple days. But apparently, so if you don't want any spoilers for that, these are just a couple of tidbits that we know. Skip ahead 15 seconds. So it opens up with Jyn Erso as a child, because there's flashbacks with her father, and Darth Vader is in it. You hear his breathing, and the camera pans up, and you see his reflection. So not the sort of money shot I was hoping for.
But it's good to just put in a little bit of Darth Vader, I think, for these trailers, because he's not supposed to be a main character.
They don't want
to
mislead anyone. Like how in Episode 1, Darth Maul was in every promotional thing, and then he's hardly in the movie. So another cool thing that happened with Rogue One at Celebration was we got to see Ben Mendelsohn come in character, in costume and in character.
Which was cool, and he had a whole fleet of stormtroopers following around and everything. And it was cool to see that. Also because they got all this money they put in these practical effects and these costumes, and it's cool to see them actually use them at these conventions where people get a chance to see them.
And speaking of costumes, they also had a lot of the stormtrooper new designs on display. Also some artwork and some models of some of the new vehicles, like the TIE Striker, which is like a sort of pointier version of the TIE Fighter. So it's cool that even though, it's perfectly plausible that, we don't see these things in the New Hope, because it's not like that's every vehicle they have. Because even by the time we get to Return of the Jedi, there's B-Wings and A-Wings and all these new ships. And you can kind of say, where were they in the New Hope? But it's that's not every ship they have, necessarily.
It's all these different types of military guns they have. They don't use them all the time, right?
Exactly.
It depends on the situation.
And of course, Gareth Edwards was in attendance, and he gave a lot of interviews sort of talking about his approach and his kind of philosophy, the way he filmed the movie. And one of the things that I personally found very interesting was that he said that when he had his sets built, normally a set, it's got, let's say if it's a room, you'd have the two side walls and then the back wall, and then the fourth wall wouldn't exist. That's why they call it breaking the fourth wall, because you're talking to the audience.
Yeah.
And so the fourth wall is removed, and you have the camera and lights and stuff there. But they actually had this set designed at 360 degrees, like an enclosed space, so that wherever you point the camera, whatever you're doing, you're always on set.
Yeah, and actually on top of that, he told extras to like just walk around for like an hour and just like be in character for the whole time.
Yeah.
So at any point they want to film something, they can just go and like look at it, and you don't have to cut, start and stop the extras ever.
And it also gave the actors the freedom to sort of move about however they wanted. It really creates a more natural and organic feel, and also I guess it probably just helps the performance too, because it feels like you're really in that environment.
Yeah.
And like in terms of the extras, he was saying, okay, so you're like a blacksmith, so you're just like out here making a piece of tool or whatever for the next hour, like in the story here, and you're just selling fruit at your market stand or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like he really created this like lived-in environment.
Yeah.
And so finally, interesting tidbit that Gareth Edwards dropped was that sort of village planet that we're seeing all the time, and he revealed like sort of what that is, what that significance of that planet is, because it has a very significant place in terms of Star Wars lore and also the Force. And the planet is called Jedha or Jeddah. I think it's pronounced Jeddah.
Yeah.
Jedha.
Yeah.
Anyway, and that name is not a coincidence. It recalls Jedi. So what he said, to quote, is like if you think about for thousands of generations the Jedi and the Force were these sort of legendary things in the Star Wars universe, well, there must be the equivalent of Jerusalem or Mecca in the Star Wars universe, and so it has a very spiritual significance, and that ties into Chirrut's character, played by Donnie Yen.
Yeah, because he's blind and apparently uses the Force to see.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be a character kind of like how Max von Sydow's character was in Episode 7, who was someone...
Or Maz Kanata.
Yeah, or Maz Kanata, who doesn't necessarily like use the Force as much as a Jedi would, but follows the Jedi like sort of training and teachings, and can sort of feel the Force and use it sort of, I guess, at like a sort of more small way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like Daredevil.
Yeah.
And he also went on a little bit about sort of the fact that this is a different type of Star Wars film, and you have to sort of take risks and take chances and make it, Star Wars-y, but also distinctive unto itself. And that's the whole point of these spin-offs, the Star Wars story anthology.
Yeah.
That it's like, probably the Han Solo movie is going to be a little bit more witty and comedic, and this is going to be gritty and more like a war movie.
Yeah.
And stylistically, it'll be a little bit different, so that's cool.
Yeah. And finally, the one thing we got to see too was the Rogue One poster, which looks really cool.
Yeah.
It's just like that beach planet, and then within the horizon, the Death Star. It looks so cool.
Yeah.
It's like a perfect, I think, poster for it, because it's not too much, but it's just enough that you know what's going to happen in that movie, right? Yeah. So I guess that's it for Celebration. We got a lot of new information, a lot on Rogue One, especially because that's going to be like the next big thing coming out. But it was good to see, a bunch of everything else. We got the bit of the video games. We got to hear about Thrawn, which was cool. A little bit of Episode 8. And I guess like mostly just the Rogue One. We're gonna see the trailer soon, guys, that came out there. I don't think it'll wait too much longer before we all get a chance to see it. And that's good. We'll probably see one more trailer before the movie comes out, in October. So that's it. I guess it was a nice little like hype bomb of everything Star Wars all at once. Let us know what you guys thought of Celebration. Is there anything else that you were particularly excited about, or if any of you guys actually got a chance to go, that would be cool.
Let us know what it's like to be there.
Yeah.
Pretty exclusive invite for that, but unfortunately we couldn't go.
Yeah,
maybe 1 year.
It's kind of far for us. So let us know. Leave a like. Follow us on Facebook if you haven't yet, and we'll see you all next time.